How's it going, everyone? Wisdom of the Sea and Sky, whatever it's called, has officially released, and great news, it is a lot of fun. I'm very happy to be back making content because I'm actually having fun with the game again. Wasn't really for the last format, but that's neither here nor there. I'm going to take you through some of the tournaments that are currently ongoing right now. Take a look at the new decks that you can play, how people are building them. I'll talk about some of my criticisms of them if I have any, because I have been playing quite a bit today, so I know how these new decks, or at least the ones that I could build so far, work. And hopefully you guys gain a little bit out of this. You'll have a better starting point for making these new decks. You'll see what's already working for them, and you can go off of that. If you guys are enjoying the content, I promise I'm not leaving again. I swear. I'm not leaving. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. All right, thanks. So this first one, out of all the decks I've played today, this is my favorite. This deck is so sick. It's dark energy only. We are using Umbreon as the only attacker, paired with Greninja, meaning we can target whatever we want. We also, look at this, we're only playing 8 trainers. Double Pokeball, double Rare Candy, double Research, double Silver. There are cards I want in this deck, but I just don't know what to get rid of because, like, the cards that are already in here feel so good. We use the double Sylveon as well to just help us draw through our deck. The 4 EV means that we have a much better chance at just starting the EV, not wasting attachments on the Froakie to pivot and retreat, and get into that Umbreon very, very quickly, as well as the Sylveons to help us set up the Greninja really quickly. Then we get to just choose what we're attacking at all times. The Silver is so great because this is a real thinking man's deck, okay? You have to decide when you are going to, like, what you're going to target. The Silver is going to allow you to not only take a supporter card out of your opponent's hand, but look at their hand, see what they could possibly do on their turn, and then make your decision as to what you're going to go after. It is incredibly fun. It's super refreshing to play a deck this way. This is kind of what I wanted Weavile Darkrai to be when that deck came out. I remember trying it with Greninja, trying Greninja, Weavile, and Darkrai, hoping that I would be able to use Greninja plus Weavile and Darkrai to pick off little things and sort of just take my wins that way. But man, this deck is so sick. There are turns where you don't attack with Umbreon, and you just bring something up with Umbreon, use Greninja to ping some more damage around to set up for that knockout, because if that thing comes active, it's going to knock out your Umbreon, you're going to lose the game, whatever. There's just a lot of really, really cool stuff you can do with this deck. So I'll talk about some of the tech cards that I have in my head that I might want. Now, so I said here, like, you're not likely to start with Froakie, but it is sort of the thing with decks like this where you have 6 basics. It was a big thing with Arceus Carnivine too. You were fine starting anyone but Arceus, and even though it shouldn't have happened 1 out of 3 games, it at times would happen more. You just get like back-to-back games where you start Arceus and you're in a really bad spot because you weren't playing X-Speed or Leaf, because statistically it shouldn't happen all that often, but obviously it's going to happen. And starting Froakie when you go first does feel really, really bad, but it does happen. I don't think I would cut something for X-Speed. I think I'm fine leaving it out of the deck. Another card that would be cool in here, but I don't know that it's entirely necessary, is Pokemon Flute. And what Pokemon Flute does, this is an old card. I had to look it up as well when someone brought it up in chat. It's put a basic Pokemon from your opponent's discard pile onto their bench. So, in theory, you could knock something out with Greninja and Umbreon, and then the next turn use Pokemon Flute and do it again. So if you're in an EV mirror match, and you can kind of just take the game that way by going after this 90 HP EV, Greninja ping, knock it out, Pokemon Flute, go get it back, if they're not giving you anything else to just sort of get through quickly. And other than that, like, weren't really any other cards I want. You know, like, Mars would be cool. Red card would be cool since we're playing double Silver. You could go red card and then Silver and just set your opponent down to 2 cards. Hopefully taking away anything that was really good for them. But other than that, yeah, I don't see myself wanting too many other cards in here. I think the deck runs pretty well. You get to take advantage of the Sylveon plus Find a Friend package of these EVs. I just love how EV works. I love the EVX inclusion in this game, allowing you to have 4 basics that you can evolve from instead of just 2. It's just really, really cool. This deck is a ton of fun. Okay, I did something so it reverted, but this deck is dark energy only. Go try it out. I had a blast doing it. All you need is 2 Umbreon if you already degened on EV Grove and have your double EVXs and your double Sylveons. Very, very, very fun deck. No clickbait, no memes. Finally, Dragonite is real. A little bit. This deck is currently 7-0 in a 300-person tournament. I've made some changes to the list. Mainly Pichu. This should be 2 Pichu. If you want to copy their list exactly, this should be 2 Pichu. I somehow don't have 2 Pichu, so I just slotted in a second Zeraora since they will almost act the same with the elemental switch. And I also took out, they had an old Amber in here. I took that out for a giant cape. My thought process behind that is, yes, you can combo old Amber with Dragonite by going Lyra into the old Amber. You could also, if you somehow manage to get 4 energy onto Dragonite, swing with it, attach once more, retreat into the old Amber, discard it, get Dragonite back into the active spot. Both of those are possible. I just don't know how likely either of them are. I feel like I would like the Giant Cape more. I don't often find myself getting 5 energy onto a Dragonite EX. Seems kind of difficult. I'd much rather prefer just having Dragonite EX and going for the Lyra into either a baby Pokemon or something I can just manually retreat with 1 energy, and that seems to work just fine. The old Amber seems a little bit, you know, a little bit gimmicky. I prefer the Giant Cape over it for Dragonite mirror matches and Lugia matchups. So, this Cleffa, it allows you to search your deck for a Pokemon. Well, it adds a Pokemon to your hand at random. Dragonite, if you don't know, he does 180 damage for a Water, a Lightning, and a Colorless Energy, and then he can't attack the next turn. So that's why we use the Lyra to reset the Dragonite if it was damaged and go from there. It is like actually a very, very powerful deck. There are a lot of matchups where you sort of just say, if I get a Dragonite with 3 energy on it, I kind of just win, because not a lot of other... The only things that can do 180 damage are Lugia and Dragonite. And if you have a Giant Cape, you stop that from being able to take a knockout on you. But yeah, if you're able to just use Dragonite to knock out a 2-point Pokemon, which majority decks are using 2 points as their main attacker, and then follow it up with another Dragonite attack onto, you know, whatever's in front of it, you win the game. It's really ridiculous now with Lyra. It's a really, really cool deck. It does have its natural inconsistencies. It's a stage 2. It requires dual energy. You try to get around that with Zeraora and Pichu. If you're running double P... I don't know how they ran it in the tournament. They might have just gone for a water energy only build. Doesn't really say on here. I don't know that I would love to do that because sometimes you just don't get the Zeraora and sometimes you aren't using Pichu. So I wouldn't really want to put it on that. I would want to keep both lightning and water energy on here. I'm going to show you another build of Dragonite that I like a little bit more because like I just said, there are a lot of matchups where all Dragonite has to do is get set up. You can kind of buy yourself time, and you can do that with the EV Sylveon package. Find a friend, Happy Ribbon, whatever that ability's called, draw 2. Get your Dragonite set up, and then all you're really worrying about is making sure that the game didn't feed you 4 lightning energy or 4 water energy in a row, and you actually got one of the other. You also have the Oricorio to slow down your opponent just a little bit, if necessary. Double Lyra and a Leaf. I like the 1 Leaf in here as well, because if you don't have the Lyra, it just helps. It helps move a Dragonite just so you can at least put him on the bench without wasting all of his energy. Or it lets you get into the Dragonite if nothing's getting damaged on your turn. The Irida is good too because there are a decent amount of Greninja stuff around as well. And, you know, you're trying to wall with some things or let Dragonite get set up on the bench peacefully. And Irida being able to take away 2 turns of Greninja pings is really, really good. So I like the Irida in there as well. And then the Mars just to set our opponent back a little bit. It's like we've been, you know, people have been clickbaiting this thing forever. Every single set. Yo, we updated Dragonite. It's broken now. Let's go, finally. But now, for once, for real, you can actually play a Dragonite deck, and it is not bad at all. It's currently on top in this tournament. Very, very cool to see. I'm happy he finally got his time, and Dragonite's no longer just a meme. All right, real quick, we're going to be switching between using the actual game to show deck list off and stuff, and just using the Limitless, because we're reaching a point where I can no longer build the decks in game and show you them because I don't have the cards. So this is Espeon Sylveon. I am very surprised this is doing well. It's almost strange to me. Like, okay, we have Sylveon to draw all of our cards, sure, but there's nothing really that crazy about this. I mean, Espeon can heal itself. Stack that with some EV bags. Espeon might be able to live you know, 2 attacks from some Pokemon out there. It's weak to dark, so it's gonna have a hard time against any Crobats running around. You do have the Sylveon as another attacker here, but it's not like there's any energy acceleration. It's just manual attachments, which might be a little tricky. I mean, I guess you are guaranteed to start with an EV, and so you won't have to waste any attachments on retreating. But very strange deck that I don't have a lot to say about, because I'm not sure how we got here, but they're doing well with it in tournaments. So you want to give it a go. I guess it could just be strong enough. Just attacking, doing 80 or 70 damage consistently every single turn from your second turn of the game on, if you went second, or you know how the energy attachments work. I guess that must just be good enough. Yeah. I don't know. It's somehow working. So here's the current best performing Ho-Oh Lugia variant, and this is another deck that is a lot of fun. I am not convinced yet that this is the best way to build the deck off of my play. It felt like I was not able to utilize the Pichu or the Magby all that often. It really felt like I was just manually attaching to Ho-Oh a lot of the time. You know, you are running 7 basics, so it's not that common that you're gonna find the Magby or the Pichu on the turn 1 when you need it. Or maybe you start Ho-Oh and then you find the Magby, but you don't have the Leaf to retreat into it to get that turn 1 energy acceleration onto the Ho-Oh. I'm not sure that that's the way we want to do it, especially with like the elemental switches and everything. It almost feels like it's 4 cards that like sometimes come up, but could be better. I'm not totally sure, but when this deck does work, it's just a ton of fun. With the elemental switches, you can plan out energy. You can, you know, put like 2 on Ho-Oh, 1 on Lugia, and just try to make your opponent think that you won't be able to attack with Lugia that turn, but you actually are. There's a lot of cool things. You can just leave those options open after your first Phoenix Turbo, and just decide on your next turn. Like, you don't have to go all in on something, because you can attach those energy any way you like. You can set it up in a way that you now have 2 attacking options on your next turn, and your opponent has to play around both of those. The Raiku's in this deck as an Oricorio counter. It's just going to do 70 damage, and then it takes 20 itself. Perfect to knock out any Oricorios. If they have a giant cape, you can Guzma that off and get the knockout there. This list was playing 2 giant cape. I could not figure out why we were playing 2 giant cape. The giant cape would be good against Charizard to block the 150. If anyone has thought about the damage numbers more than I have, I took out the giant cape in order to throw in... What did I add to this deck? I added a Mars. I didn't think that the giant capes were necessary. Every game I was playing, I kind of would have giant capes in my hand, and I would debate, okay, am I going to use this on Ho-Oh or am I going to use this on Lugia? And then I would just think about how much damage my opponent could do to me, and I would ultimately decide, well, it doesn't really matter. I guess I'll just throw the cape on the active Ho-Oh, and if I get another one, I'll throw it on the Lugia, but either way, it's not going to make a difference. I guess it could make a difference against Giratina Sylveon. If they go Greninja plus Giratina, that would be 150. You would want to dodge that. That deck is still very popular, so you would want to get around that. It would also get you around Darkrai Ping plus Giratina attack for any Darktinas. So those both seem good, but whether or not you need 2 giant capes for that, I'm not sure. Again, I'm still not convinced that, like, this is the exact way to play it. I don't know what we change from here. If we just go double Zeraora, double elemental switch, and maybe have some of the babies in there as well. Like, maybe replace the Raikou and the Mars for 2 Zeraoras, and that way we have much more of a chance that we actually get an extra energy in play to take advantage of with the elemental switch. But yeah, with just the 2 babies, I'm not sure. They are doing very well in the tournament, so maybe I just hit some bad RNG while I was testing it out. Yeah, they're like 6-1 right now, so it's obviously working for them, but I'm curious to see where Lugia Ho-Oh ends up in the future, because it does feel real. I wouldn't say it's, you know, total garbage or anything like that. I think the deck does have some merit, and I'm excited to see if some better, potentially better list end up making it something that stays around in the meta. All right, there are a few different ways to play Crobat. I did not pull any Crobat, so I don't have a ton to say on which variant is better than the other. I opened like 120 Ho-Oh packs, and I pulled 0 Crobat, so let's give it up. Give it up for DNA. Yeah, but Crobat is performing decently. We go over here and we look at the metagame. There are 28 Crobat Sylveon. It's got a almost 49% win percentage. Compare that to like Darkrai Giratina with 67 or Charizard Sylveon with 54. And Darkrai Crobat is at 30%. It's doing okay. This is kind of where I thought Crobat was. Like, I looked at it and it seemed decent, but I wasn't positive. Because it does do good damage, and it does only need 1 energy. But I would almost argue, besides if you went first, you can sort of have the same pop-off potential with Crobat as you could with, like, Solgaleo or even Charizard. Like, it just feels like there's not a whole lot different about this Stage 2 from something like just Solgaleo. You can run some other Pokemon in it to make, like, Oricorio better. But we'll have to see. Maybe it ends up being better when people figure out list and people start to agree. But this is... Crobat Sylveon seems to be one of the more successful variant with an Umbreon in it. I believe there's also... Yeah. A more linear sort of thing without as many tech cards in it. Just double research, a Silver and a Cyrus, 2 Sylveon, the one of Umbreon to act as another attacker. Can be a quick attacker. You know, some you don't always get the Zubat into Crobat immediately, so having another option with Umbreon, something that can attack early on, not needing 3 energy attachments like Darkrai, is pretty good as well. So there's this variant. There's this slightly different variant with the Baby Umbreon. Baby Umbreon's okay. I don't really love its attack. Basically, any basic base deck will have a way around the Umbreon. I guess it's your best option for Oricorios with this style of build. You prevent the Oricorio from being able to attack again. They would have to pivot and retreat, and you can also 2-shot them. So I think, if anything, it's probably here for Oricorios, and maybe you find circumstances where it will be useful. So I don't hate the inclusion. I'm not, like, super hype on the card. And then this variant has not been doing well at all from what I just looked at. It is the Crobat with Darkrai and Nihilego to boost the poison damage on here. Dark Pendant seems scary. I mean, I've been boomed by this on the ladder for sure. Granted, I wasn't really playing decks that, you know, necessarily took a good Crobat matchup, but if you're able to go, you go first, and then on your second turn, you go Rare Candy Evolve into Crobat, then you're going to have a pretty good time. I mean, you're just putting down so much pressure so quickly. It's really, really hard to deal with, especially if your opponent is trying to build up something in the active spot and you get that Crobat online immediately. Like, the Crobat's going to attack twice. It's going to shrug off most attacks that were able to be powered up in that time frame, that very short amount of time in the beginning of the game. So it's a really scary deck. It's a stage 2 that, you know, has to get set up, and It's sort of a... You don't want your opponent to get too far ahead because you are capped at your damage output. If they have a way to reliably two-shot a Crobat even through a Lily or something, or just knock out a Crobat and then Sabrina knock out something else on the bench, it can get a little bit tough for you. So, Crobat seems to be doing okay. Not the most broken thing in the world by any means yet, unless someone comes up with a better list and just completely cracks this deck, and then we're all playing Crobat mirrors for the rest of the season. Unless that happens, have no fear. It's just a good deck that you can pick up and play, and there are all these variants here. I would say, from the data, stay away from the Darkrai specific variant. Go for something with the Sylveons. I would agree as well, because any Stage 2s at this point kind of want Sylveon in it in order to actually set up. Now we have Donphan, a Pokemon I've been hoping would get a good card for a really long time, and this deck seems pretty alright. I was playing a variant a lot that was more defensive, and it wasn't really working. You know, I was doing like double or one cape, double Pokemon Center Lady, stuff like that to try to boost the longevity of Donphan. But this variant is much more aggro. So we use, instead of, as I was using, I was at one point even trying double Regirock to sort of be... Regirock sits in the active spot, takes some damage while I build up a big Donphan on the bench, then I Lyra into the Donphan and start swinging there. This deck just says, I'm going to go full aggro. I'm going to prey on a lot of the common starters like Crobat. A Crobat plus, or if there's a Zubat, one of the 50 HP ones, and you attack it with Tyrogue and you have one of your two Giovannis, you knock out that Zubat for free because of weakness. Don't even have to attach an energy. So you're able to just keep attacking with Tyrogue, do 20, maybe 40, maybe 60 damage, all while not wasting any energy attachments anywhere, building up the Donphan, using that Giovanni to boost the Tyrogue's damage a little bit more, or the Donphan when he starts attacking, and going that route. This person is 6'1". I will say they did dodge the, in my mind, or from what I played, were harder matchups. Dragonite's going to be difficult because Dragonite can just wipe your Donphan. You really want Donphan. A lot of Donphan's power is being able to get multiple attacks off. He's not easy to set up. It takes a while. And if they get a Dragonite on board with all the energy attached before you can rush them down, you probably just lose that game. Same with Charizard. Charizard's also tricky. If you don't get your giant cape out on the Donphan and they have the red play to knock out your Donphan, it's going to be really hard. They also have Lilies to shrug off a lot of that early damage. So even if you went one Donphan in the active, doing 50 or 70 over and over while you're building up a big one on the bench, you're still going to run into some issues where they can just Lily that damage off. A lot of the Stage 2 matchups are not really great for the Donphan, but the decks that do not have a way to consistently one-shot or come close to one-shotting Donphan do struggle a bit against it. And again, it preys on, like, EVs. You can get up and going and knock out EVs with just Tyrogues or just with Donphan pretty easily, and it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun to play this deck. I really, really enjoyed it. I'm excited to try this variant. I do need one more Tyrogue, so unfortunately I can't yet, but the Hiker was a card I added it, and then I would take it out, and then I'd add it back again. I'm not sure if it's, like, that good. It would help in spots, and especially when you're playing a 6 basic version, you're likely going to be able to Hiker and look at the top 3, top 4 cards of your deck, and put the order, put them in whatever order you want. That would just be disrupted by a Mars, or a red card, or even a Silver. If they use Silver, that's going to shuffle your deck. You're not going to be able to choose what you draw after that. But yeah, I'm like, I don't know. The deck feels like it wants one more consistency card. I don't like Iono. Pokemon Communication is okay. It's kind of in between Hiker, Pokemon Communication, and Iono for me. And this person went with Hiker, and it seemed to work out for them. Hiker's fine. I don't really have any issues with it, besides the fact that you can essentially waste your supporter for turn by forcing them to do something. But if you're using Hiker, you're probably looking for stuff anyways, and maybe a red card or a Mars wouldn't be the end of the world. So here's the very aggro version, and here's another more toolboxy variant. I almost don't like the Hitmonlee. I think I would rather run Hitmontop, because although Hitmontop is only going to do 20 damage to the bench, you can boost it with Lucario, and then you're doing like 40-20 or 60-20. It's pretty ridiculous. They do play the Pokemon Center Lady, and they also play an X-Speed and a Lyra in order to move around their Pokemon a little bit better. I think if you're playing a Sudowoodo and a Hitmonlee, like these two basics that are just, you know, you now have 4 basics that you don't want to start. I think the Espeon and the Lyra make sense for the deck. So, I also did not really do the... I mean, Pokemon Center Lady came up and would win me games, but it's hard to tell because everything you're playing today is sort of random and, you know, built weird, or you're just playing against weird decks. So it's hard to say if Pokemon Center Lady is even necessary against the meta. It's going to be like, we'll look at the meta and we'll see, does that 30 damage really matter at times enough for an inclusion, or should we just be going straight aggro with the Donphan deck? I've even seen some variants running double Rocky Helmet in order to boost their damage, but these were the 2 best performing Donphans. There weren't a whole lot of them. There were like 11 Donphans at this 300 person tournament, and these were the variants that did the best. There was also a Donphan Rampardos, I'll show you right here, that I played it. I didn't love this variant. It's Rampardos. I'm not the biggest Rampardos fan. Double silver, double Giovanni, double red card. Really gross, funny deck. This take I kind of like. Because you do just want time with your Donphan. You know you're going to start the Phanpy. You just got to find the Donphan. And then you're going to be like resetting your opponent's hand over and over while you set up. Hopefully stop them from doing any damage to the Donphan and just getting your board situated. I kind of like this one. This one's pretty cool. I really love the Donphan card. I wish it was just slightly better. I don't know what would have made it better. Maybe an ability that said this Pokemon takes minus 10 damage, minus 20 damage. That'd probably be too overpowered, but it's a really, really cool card. I like the Donphan a lot. A lot of ways to play it. There's a lot of fighting stuff, a lot of good fighting stuff, so build it how you want, but these are sort of the 3 blueprints for what is working the best right now. That's about it for the new decks, you know, all based around new cards that are doing really well in the tournaments on this very first day of the format. But I'm going to leave you with one last deck, which can almost be considered a entirely new deck because we're using just Exeggutors. This guy went 5-3 at a tournament. It was like 180 people. And thanks to the new Will, we're able to guarantee that our Exeggutor is going to hit for 80 damage with Tropical Swing, or guarantee that a Alolan Exeggutor hits for 150 with Tropical Hammer. And this guy is like, this guy's scary. 150 HP. Leaf Gate brings it up to 180. If you start Execute, attached to it, Growth Spurt, you can get into the Alolan Exeggutor the next turn and start using Will to Tropical Hammer, take knockouts. Exeggutor puts down early pressure. Again, with Will, you can guarantee it hits for 80. You don't have to do it every single turn. You can wait until the turns where it matters. We also have a Celestic Town Elder to get back one of our Executes, allow us to use one of our 4 Exeggutors again. Just a super, super funny deck. I'm excited to try it. I just don't have any Wills yet, unfortunately. Did not pull any. So, once I get them, you know I'm going to be running this deck. You know I'm going to be testing it out because I love my Exeggutor. Very, very cool. If you don't have that many of the new cards, all you need are 2 Will and a Silver and a Lyra. So just a few of the supporters. A lot easier to get those than the EXs for the set. So give this one a shot if you do not have a whole bunch of new cards from the set. All right, that's going to be it for the video. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this new meta as much as I am. There's just a lot of cool ways to play the game right now. I really am enjoying the decks that I'm seeing. The Greninja stuff is cool. The Donphan stuff is cool. All of this new energy acceleration and switching around energies with the elemental switch. I'm just having a good time playing the game. So hopefully, again, you guys are as well. That's going to be it. Have a nice night.